Sometimes we can make ourselves very unhappy indeed because we spend a lot of time clinging to mistakes that we may have made in the past. And when we spend a lot of time worrying about the past, thinking about the past, obsessing over the things we did wrong and the things people did to us and the things, we've done to other people, this can cause a lot of unhappiness, a lot of depression and anxiety and overthinking and rumination, all things that will make us very, very unhappy. So if you are obsessed or ruminating about something that happened in the past that you can't seem to let go of, perhaps you did something and you are very embarrassed and ashamed that you actually did a certain thing and you don't know how to forgive yourself. Or maybe somebody did something to you that really, really hurt you. They've never explained why they did what they did. You seem like you have no closure because they haven't explained to you, this is why I behaved like this, or this is why I did this to you. Or maybe they don't even know why they did it. Maybe it was just one of those things. Anyway, you are hurt. Someone's hurt you. They betrayed you. You don't have closure on that because you've never had a discussion or they've never said sorry. If these are scenarios that seem familiar to you and you know that you're one of those people that's really, really still stuck in the past, I want to ask you to try asking yourself a couple of questions. The purpose of asking yourself these questions is to release yourself from the burden that you're carrying around. Because you see, when we carry the past around with us, we are carrying, it's like walking around with a heavy bag on your back. That's going to be very difficult for you to do anything else. It's going to be difficult for you to enjoy doing anything. It's going to be difficult for you to move from one thing to the next. Basically makes life hell. So we want to set the burden of the past down. We want to leave it and move on with our lives. So I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions. So the two questions I want you to ask yourself are, the first one is, what would I do differently? What have I learned from what happened in the past? What are the things that I realize that if this was to happen again, I wouldn't do it the same way? And we need to really focus on lessons here. Lessons learned. Whether you hurt someone or someone hurt you, every situation that we face in this kind of scenarios, there's always a lesson. And I think when we can take the lesson from a difficult situation, it's going to be easier for us to move forward. But as long as we're still hung up on what happened, who said this, who said that, and we're still, kind of rolling over the details in our head, we cannot move forward. So what we're almost doing is we're saying, okay, this happened. We can't change it. It's happened. What can I take from it before I move on? So asking yourself that question is precipitating that idea in your head that it's time to close the book and move on. But we just want to take the lessons out of it. So that's the first question that you should be asking yourself is, what have I learned from this? And once you have the answer to that question, I promise you, you will feel a lot lighter. And the second question is, did I hurt anyone? Did I offend anyone? Is there something that I did that I need to make amends for, or I need to apologize for, or I just need to be aware of that I did something wrong? Now, this is not to beat yourself up or to make yourself feel bad. This is just about accepting some responsibility where you have responsibility, because in some scenarios, you're not the one that did anything. Although even in situations where we are not the offender, we may still have something to be accountable for, to be responsible for, something that we did that maybe wasn't the best thing. So go through the whole thing that happened, the event, and try to find out, is there anything that I did badly or wrong? And if you can pinpoint things that you did badly and it is possible for you to do so, make amends. Say your sorries if you can. Send a letter, write an email, whatever you can do. Sometimes it's impossible because, things have happened a long time ago and the person is not around, or it's going to be very difficult to be in touch with the person again. But where it's possible, try to make amends. Now, where it's not possible to do it to the person, do it with yourself. Because sometimes a lot of why we hold on to the past is we cannot forgive ourselves for certain things. But in the same way as it's important for us to forgive people so that we can be free, we also need to learn to forgive ourselves when we do something wrong. Forgiveness is to set you free. If you don't forgive yourself because you did something bad, you're going to carry it around with you. It's going to eat away at you. It's like a poison. You want to get rid of it. Get rid of it. You want to live in the past. So ask yourself those two questions. And if you can answer them genuinely and honestly, you will find that at the end of that exercise, you're going to be feeling lighter. And it's almost as if you are deciding to yourself that I have decided to tackle this issue and then move on. Because there is a finality to saying something like, I am forgiving myself, or I am forgiving somebody else, or this is the lesson I learned, which I will not make this mistake again. Those things are a signal that it's time to move on. I hope you find this useful.